series of blasts were reported at a Christian group's convention centre in Kerala's Kalamassery this morning, leading to the death of one person and injuring over 40 others. As reported by local police, a 4-member National Investigation Agency team, together with local law enforcement, is currently investigating this incident. However, it is also worth mentioning and noting that this comes just a day after a leader of the Hamas terrorist group that attacked Israel on the 7th of October participated virtually at a rally organized by the Solidarity Youth Movement in Kerala's Malappuram on Friday. Now, as we jump into this discussion today, we are forced to ask, was this a coincidence or not? Joining me on the show to talk more about this is Ambassador Bhaspati Mukherjee, former diplomat. Major General J.K.S. Parihar, senior defense expert, also joins us on the show. Mr. Sandeep Chatra, human rights defender, with us on the program. Sumit Peer, senior political commentator, also joins us on the show. And last but not the least, Dr. Rajesh Jauhri, senior journalist, joining us on the program as well. Ambassador Mukherjee, if you're there with us, ma'am, I'd like to begin with you. First up, ma'am, in your professional, subjective opinion, do you think that this is a coincidence? And should it be allowed that, a Hamas leader be attending, a congregation of this sort? And if this has happened, what should be the repercussions for the state government?
First of all, it is extremely unfortunate that the state government permitted such a rally to take place with participation from a leader of an organization that has perpetrated this dastardly raid inside Israel. It's not very clear to me where he participated from. It couldn't be from the Gaza Strip. Maybe he is in some safe haven in some other part of the Middle East. But whatever it is, the question therefore before the government is, should we then immediately declare Hamas to be a terrorist organization, in which case such rallies cannot take place. The state government, any state government would be obliged to stop it. And secondly, the fact that the Kerala police did not stop it would mean that the state police department have not received the necessary instructions from the state government and the state home department to stop such rallies. About the blast, I cannot comment at this stage. It is too premature. But I think it gives a completely wrong opinion about India's stance vis-a-vis Israel and vis-a-vis terrorism if we allow leaders from Hamas to make such statements, address us even in a virtual manner. And it gives the impression also that India has a divided position on this issue on terrorism, which we don't. The entire country is united in condemning international terrorism. So I think there will definitely be repercussions in the days that come, Vineet, where we cannot allow such actions to go unnoticed and unpunished.
All right, ma'am. All right. Sumit Peer, if you can hear me.
Vineet, loud and clear.
Sumit, are you of the opinion that had the government designated Hamas as a terrorist organization, Kerala as a state with the kind of history it has had would be an inch safer?
Vineet, thanks for having me on your show. First of all, it's a very unfortunate day. We are talking of, unfortunately here, how many Indians are dead, how many are injured, how many are critical, how many are in ICU. And we know there is an international terrorist here, Khalid Mashal, ex-chief of Hamas. He was the chief before Ismail Haniyeh took over. He's a dreaded terrorist. He has bloods of maybe few thousand people on his hand. He's a known terrorist. He's a known jihadi. The point I want to make and ask is, how come a dreaded terrorist is allowed to talk to Indians? We have no relation with Hamas. We don't recognize Hamas. We don't recognize the government in, Gaza. We know Hamas is a terrorist organization. The government of India is with Israel. When Indians were, there, well, let it be a pro-Palestine rally or whatever. But how come a dreaded terrorist, a dreaded international terrorist was allowed to come and address the people? I want to ask the question, did the DGP Saab know about it? Did he approve about it? Did Chief Minister Saab know about it? Did he approve about it? Did the Home Minister Saab of Kerala know about it? Did he approve about it? And did the Chief Secretary Saab of Kerala know and approve about it? My problem is here, it's a cause and effect theory. When you have such dreaded terrorists and jihadis addressing people, what will they talk? They will talk about blood, they will talk about banduk, they will talk about body, goli, barud, they only understand one language. So when you have people who are there and when you instigate people, and this Khalid Mashal, he talks against Hindus, he talks against Christians, he talks against Jews. For him, all three are kafirs, and it is his history. It is nothing new. It is Hanud is Hindus and Yahud is Jews. That is what the distinction is. Now, let's not be a ostrich here, Vineet, because these people were Christians, our brothers. They were at their prayer meeting. The prayer meeting was to give their, send their respects or to have the prayers for the people who lost their lives in Hamas attack in Israel. Exactly at that blast, we have a serial blast going on. First, you have one blast, then you have a couple of other blasts going on. The blast is done by IED. Now, IEDs are not sold in Bindi Bazaar. IEDs are not sold in, Okla Mandi next to your office. So some sophisticated person with that training has made the IED, has kept the IED there. The idea is to send a message to the Christian community. Vineet, I have been talking to you about, this is not a Israel versus Hamas war. It's a clash of the civilizations. You can refer to what Donald Trump said today morning or yesterday night. It is the clash of civilizations. And when Christian countries and we are siding with Hamas and some Islamic countries, or not some, almost all are siding with Hamas and we are siding with Israel. Now this is a message which these anti-India forces want to send to our Christian brothers. But unfortunate is when you have activists like Hamid Mashal, when he is given a free stage, when he is allowed to radicalize the people, when he is allowed to spill the venom, this person has only talked about death and destruction in his whole life. Has he ever built a wall? Has he ever built a school? Has he ever built a hospital? No. But his bunker is below Al-Shafa Hospital in Gaza. That is the speciality of this man and his organization. It is a catastrophe. We are playing with the fire, and when we let such people do what they want to do, unfortunately, we'll be counting dead, we'll be counting injured, and we'll be counting people in ICU. 15 people in ICU. I don't know how many of them are going to make it. They're all Indians. I don't want to know, are they Hindu, Muslim, Christian? That's a different issue. I know my brothers and sisters are there because a radical terrorist tried to divide our society, tried to use this event to spew venom, and this is what the outcome is. How come we are letting it happen? Now NIA is there, energy is there. Honorable Ahmed Shahji has done what he has to do. But the question is, how do we stop such occurrences if possible? Who approved this rally? Why this rally was not stopped? Why action was not taken? And what will be the future course of action?
The state government can turn around and say that the Hamas has not been banned by our country. They have not been declared a terrorist organization. So where's the legality in this cancellation? Okay,
now, for example, Hamas is not a terrorist organization. But the massacre what Hamas has done, beheadings Hamas has done, the abductions, the rape Hamas has done, $10,000 per one person kidnapped to Gaza. An apartment for that. Rape had a rate.
Can foreign policy be based on these facts that you have just narrated? Can foreign policy be based on that? I'm just asking you these questions for the sake of argument. Not that I don't believe you.
Vineet, the problem here is we are talking of a first-class radicalized jihadi organization. It's not look, when we talk of West Bank, we have a relation with them. There's not so much a problem in West Bank. We don't recognize Hamas. We don't recognize their government. We know what is our stand with them. Israel is fighting Hamas. Israel is not fighting Palestine. Israel is not fighting Muslims. They are fighting Hamas. Okay. Hamas has done it.
Let me open General Parihar. Let's hear from a defense expert on what he feels has gone wrong here. General Parihar, what do you think has gone wrong here? First of all, should we be equating, Hamas and Israel and Palestine with the blast that took place in Kerala today?
First of all, I must condemn this blast. We can't support this kind of terrorist activities anywhere in the world. Forget about in our country. And there is a very thin line between Hamas, Palestine, and conflict between Israel and Hamas. They will have to understand it's a big story, and you cannot decipher just in few minutes. The fact is there that, as you have rightly pointed out, that the Hamas is not a declared terrorist organization by our country. But I must say, even if this rally was permitted by the government of Kerala, the web presentation by such person, I am sure it would have been taken permission from the government. If it has not been, then these people, those who have organized this rally, they have to be punished for it. And particularly considering that PFI and all other Islamic extreme organizations are very active in Kerala, there has become a particularly North Kerala is a part of all organizations. They have got the seed here, and from there they have moved to the Malegaon and all other parts of the country. So this kind of activities has to be taken very seriously, and I must say there is some security lapse, intelligence lapse must be there. Regarding this blast, it cannot be all of a sudden. as Sumit has rightly pointed out, that you need to gather all these blasts. You have to make
So what you're saying, this was being planned right under the
Yes,
nose
yes,
of the
it is
government.
very, 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 I'm very sure it is well planned activity. And so obviously there are some lapses are there. We have to make all efforts, all out efforts. Government has to declare Hamas as a organization which is not, for us, we must say, though the people say that they are not directly engaged with the India, then why should we call it them a terrorist organization? There are so many organizations, not directly in India, but they are promoting terrorist activities in our country. We put them on the task. So Hamas has to be, it is clear that they are having hand of gloves with the our terrorist organizations, BAN, PFI and all. With them, if they have the link, obviously Hamas has to be taken care of it. But simultaneously, you have to demarcate Hamas from the Palestine liberal movements, and Palestine deserves support of the India and government of India. Again, it has declared that we are with the Palestine, and you have to accept the two-nation theory of Israel and Palestine, which has not yet recognized by the US and UK and UN, which is a very big point to put it there. If this would have been done right from the 1948, probably this situation in Hamas would have not taken ground in the Gaza Strip.
All right, Mr. Chachra, where do you stand on this? And looking at Kerala as a state, do you think it has been a hotbed for certain vulnerabilities that can be exploited by powers who want to foment trouble in the name of religion, or can I say religions?
First of all, thank you for having me here, and I want to take this moment to express both sorrow and solidarity with the families who've lost people or in ICU in Kerala today, but also in Israel earlier on the 7th of October, but also what's going on in the Gaza Strip right now as aerial bombardments are taking place. Lots of people are dying by the hour. So I want to express deep sorrow and solidarity with all the families there, those who lost lives, those who've been wounded. Now, to your question on the blast today, so that I would not engage in any speculation at the moment. Investigations are going on. One person has owned up from the same congregation. Dominic Martin has owned up responsibility, but of course investigations are going on. So let me not get into speculative judgments here. On this other issue about your question on Kerala and Hamas. Firstly, on Hamas. See, India is one of the first countries which recognized, as the general was saying, recognized the existence of an independent Palestine state since 1948. Hamas has not been banned as yet as a terrorist organization. So, and also, Hamas is, we must understand, is a part of a political system and a political apparatus of the Palestine state, in this case in Gaza. So in legal terms, in strictly legal terms, the question of a Hamas speaker, ex-chief of Hamas, speaking at a rally, he's spoken before. In any case, Hamas is accessing all the media and they're speaking everywhere. So the question of him speaking at a rally, I don't see it as illegal or anything wrong by the existing law of the land. It had the state government permission as well. It also has, it is not on the list of 42 terrorist organizations that the government of India has. So I don't see any issue there. As far as, there is a freedom, people can access what Hamas thinks. So I don't see any causal link between the two events that have happened in consecutive days as far as Kerala today. Now, the question for me, Vinayji, which is where we need to get to, is the dire humanitarian situation which is unraveling in the Gaza Strip. As when the aerial bombardment happened day before night and then continued and now ground invasion, thousands of people are at risk of dying. And I think what is really needed is a call, and I think that's where we should focus, a call for an urgent ceasefire. The other day, there was a vote at the General Assembly, and 120 countries voted for immediate ceasefire. Our own and 44 others abstained for it, but on the reason of Hamas not being named, that this is what the EOV, the explanation of vote of India, said, that they did not vote in favor for the humanitarian and other longer-term immediate ceasefire, because Hamas was not named. So till the official policy shifts, but then we had 14 other countries who were against it. Now, from my perspective, they are on the wrong side of history and humanity. As of now, Hamas is only banned by a few countries. Of course, Israel, of course, the US, but a handful of other G7 countries. So we have to understand this long history of where Hamas and the Palestinian people's struggle is coming from. The point, Viniji, here is the understanding that the state of Palestine is also in the immediate history a result of an ethnic cleansing process, ethnic cleansing of Jews of Europe, from Europe, with the Holocaust and then the mass, sort of migrations into a colonial sort of occupation by Britain, which then divided Palestine and Israel and made Israel possible. And we must understand that the Palestinian national consciousness is a result of this process. So Hamas or no Hamas, the struggle for the land for Palestinians, which has been reducing and contracting over the years, these years, will continue. So to me, the question is not really Hamas. The question is the need to settle, as per the 1967 agreement, the two-state question, the territory of Palestine and the territory of Israel in peaceful coexistence and sovereign coexistence with each other. That will resolve a range of these issues that we are talking to today.
Right,
Hamas,
sir,
to me, is incidental, sir. You can finish Hamas today. Tomorrow there will be somebody else replacing Hamas. We have seen this history repeated itself. The invasion of Iraq, Viniji, the invasion of Libya, the occupation of Afghanistan. What has it led to? This whole colonial project of trying to civilize and democratize and install puppet regimes in these countries, in that part of the world, but also in our neighborhood. What has it led to? The Taliban's, a set of motley crew of radicals and terrorists in Libya. You see the situation of Iraq yourself. So I think we sort of understand it from that perspective, Niji. Thank you.
I agree with you that, if you finish off Hamas today, which is perhaps very easy for Israel, there's going to be another one. Dr. Jauhri, what's your take on all of this? This is obviously a mixture of a number of issues combined together, but at the base of it, it all boils down to how you view and react to terrorism.
Vineet, before any question comes in my mind, there is a very important question, and that question is irrespective of the legality of whether government has declared Hamas as a terrorist organization or not. What compels CPM and many other opposition parties to not recognize Hamas as a terror organization, not recognizing Hamas as a threat to humanity, despite the fact of 7th of October, what happened, everybody knows, videos are there. This is one aspect. Second aspect is the ID blast. Mr. Subit talked about ID. He is very correct. It is some professional, some very competent terrorist organization, very trained persons must have had operated it. And the other thing was one blast, and after a gap of some time, then other blast, series of blasts. This was done in Bombay also, series blast in Bombay, and this is done in Kashmir and all other places where our Indian army is facing terrorism. So this shows this shows a link between the terrorists. So this is to be. I'm sure NIA will look into it. And other thing is Shashi Tharoor his name was dropped from this solidarity program just because he called Hamas as a terror organization. And second, very important thing is when this blast had taken place in Kochi, and Trivandrum is not so far, where the solidarity program was going on, and CM Pinari Vijayan and Sitaram Yechuri were the chief guests of that program, that event. And everybody knows who is behind this. And now I'll connect those lines which will tell the audience what is there. When Khalid Mashal was addressing the event in Mallapuram, at the same time a rally was taken out in Mallapuram, and their slogans were their slogans were Jews, wipe out Jews and bulldozer Hindutva. Now we can understand, very well understand what bulldozer means. Bulldozer means Yogi Adityanath and Narendra Modi. So this was their, now NSG has already moved into Kerala, NIA will be taking over the case. But we must all hope that the state government will participate, will help the agencies in probing the this terror event, irrespective of the name of people, of kind of people coming into that in that probe.
Right, sir.
So and lastly, again, I said this yesterday also on two channels. One was yours, that this Hamas solidarity movement towards Hamas is reminding me what I have read in history when I was studying in the school. Same Khilafat movement that was initiated by Ali brothers in early 1920s. So same things happened at that time also.
Right. So we have a paucity of time. We've run out of time. We're going to take concluding thoughts from all our panelists, starting with Ambassador Mukherjee. Ambassador Mukherjee.
I just wanted to say that what has happened in Kerala, followed by the blast, is a matter of deep concern for India's internal security, but also puts into question the entire issue of India's foreign policy, because we've taken a considered position with regard to what happened in Israel. We have a considered position on Hamas vis-a-vis the Palestinian Authority. It is very true what Sandeep said, that we have always supported this two-state policy. We have never ever supported colonial occupation either of the Gaza Strip or of the West Bank. But on the other hand, the whole issue of terrorists going in, taking out civilians, and let's not forget one thing, which I'd like to tell Sandeep here, is that the first blow in this instance was done by Hamas, and they knew very well that it would come with a huge response, which would kill thousands of innocent Palestinian civilians in the Gaza Strip. So we cannot just hold Israel responsible. We have to hold Hamas responsible, because they did it deliberately, and they also hid the hostages among the civilians. They used women as shields. So there's a whole power game going on here, which is reprehensible, which needs to be condemned. So when we talk about what is happening in the Gaza Strip, yes, one weeps for all the deaths, but one has to also remember who perpetrated the first attack, and did they know or not that it would meet with a massive response where their own people would be butchered. This is something that we need to keep in mind, that Indian audiences need to know, because very often we are swayed by, photographs coming in of civilians.
Right.
We have to condemn massacres wherever they happen. We have to also understand clearly where the thought process came.
All right. Quickly. Sumit Peer, quickly, please. 15 seconds to each one of you. We don't have too much time.
There is a very, very clear distinction here. First of all, what does the Hamas's charter say? My job is to eliminate all the Jews from across the world. This is the charter of Hamas. This is not an aspersion I am causing. Now, what does the Hezbollah deputy chief say? First Jews, then Christians, then Hindus. Again on record, I'm not casting aspersions. So when you have people who want to wipe out an entire community, entire race, entire humanity, because that is what my religion says. Now, if you talk of the two-state policy we need, by India-Pakistan ka division hua na. People went to Pakistan, they got what they want. Who is your biggest perennial threat? Who is the biggest person who has been wanting to bleed India by 1,000 cuts? Did the two-nation theory work for India-Pakistan? It will not work for Israel and Palestine as well. Because if you do it, they will come again. Jihad is a persistent, it's a perennial war which you're in. It's a present continuous war. And the holy book says you have to Islamize the whole world. So let's not kid ourselves. Let's not think it is a conflict. It's a clash of civilizations. We need the fighting.
All right. General Parihar, quickly, sir.
India must fight for the Palestine, and the geographical position of 1948 at least should be restored. See, there is no, they don't have army, they don't have navy, they don't have air force, they don't have any support. Everything is passing through the Israel. So the people of Palestine, they feel suppressed, and this kind of activity will keep on cropping up till this two-nation theory is well established in the Middle East.
Mr. Chachra?
Yeah, very quickly. First of all, I make no bones in condemning the terrorist act of Hamas on the 7th of October, killing civilians and taking hostages. Hostages must be returned unconditionally, but also immediate ceasefire is needed. A vacation of land is needed. Mass migration of people needs to stop. Forced displacement of people needs to stop.
Right,
Bombardment on civilians need to stop. Just one more second. I think these are violations of international humanitarian law and the Geneva Convention, and these are called war crimes. Whichever party, both parties. Secondly, and very quickly, just to say that it is a hegemonic colonial project, this convention called Clash of Civilizations. And we must be very, very alert and challenge it, because what it leads to is not multiculturalism, coexistence and peace for the future of our world. What it leads to is perpetual wars, and wars are defeat in themselves. Thank you, Viniji.
Very well. Dr. Jauhri? Quickly, sir, 10 seconds, completely out of time.
I fully agree with Mr. Sumit that it is a clash of civilization, and what they are doing is jihad. They are not doing anything else. They are not following any Geneva Convention. They are not following any international conventions. So I think they must not be given time by ceasefire. Right, they must be wiped out.
We need 1 second, 5 seconds.
All right, quickly, Sumit, quickly.
Let me, nobody from Islamic world signed UN Human Rights Convention. They are not signatories to it. They have signed a Sharia Convention in Egypt. What UN Human Rights Convention are we talking about? When you said Allah will give who's human to give human rights? Rights are given by Allah. You did not sign that convention. If you do a ceasefire, they will regroup.
You made your point, Sumit. We've run out of time. I apologize, but you've run out of time. That's all we can accommodate. Appreciate everyone with their unique perspective and opinion weighing in on what's happening in Kerala vis-a-vis in juxtaposition to what obviously has been taking place in Gaza and Israel.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.